What's up, YouTube? This is Dan, bringing you an Atlas strategy video for the upcoming 3.18 Sentinel League. Lots of content to cover in this one. I've got my written guide. I've got a niche strategy that I'm calling the Zero Voidstone strategy, as well as we're going to cover some of the nodes that were overperforming and underperforming in the last league. So let's go ahead and just hop right into it. The written guide, what is it? Basically, this beginning portion is aimed at newer players. How do you progress your Atlas? You've just killed Katava. Step by step. I recommend going through the tiers, kind of all of that good stuff, as well as a recommended Atlas tree. I actually rush a new keystone called Stream of Consciousness. I think it's really great while progressing your Atlas because it gives you a whole bunch of extra baseline content, as long as you don't put in scarabs or fragments, which you shouldn't really be doing in the beginning anyways. I think Stream of Consciousness is actually a really great value. And then, you really don't need the plus 15% chance for your maps to upgrade a tier until you reach about late yellow, early reds. So I pick up some of the static value in terms of strong boxes and harbingers, kind of on your way to picking up those map upgrade nodes. And then, from there, it's personal preference. Pick the mechanics you like. Don't take the mechanics you don't like. You can actually block out mechanics that you don't like now, which is something that you could even do early. It's very early on in the trees you can take those. So if you really don't like some content, you can do that. Also in this document, I have some of my personal Atlas trees and what I'm going to be doing on day 2, day 3, how I plan on making currency in the upcoming league. I actually want to try something completely new. I'm going to try making currency through Metamorph and selling catalysts. I don't know if it's going to be good. Feel free to stop by on Twitch, just kind of see how my progression's going there on how good Metamorph was. Week 1 and beyond, I'm going to have some really juiced up tree for a whole bunch of baseline quant and backsides and stuff like that. But yeah, I wouldn't stick too much to these personal Atlas trees. I highly recommend just doing the content that you like. That's kind of the beauty of the new Atlas. So let's get into this niche strategy that I'm calling the Zero Voidstone strategy. Why would you ever want Zero Voidstones? Well, basically, with Zero Voidstones, you can go from, you can drop maps of any tier. So maps tier 16 all the way down to 1. And, as you put Voidstones in, not only do you get this chance for the tiers to be one or higher, but it also raises the minimum map tier. When you put 1 Voidstone in, the minimum goes to 4. From 3, it goes to 8. And then once you get all 4 in, your entire Atlas is full T16. And in my last video, I cover this concept called map equity, where basically if a map would drop tier 15 or below on this new Atlas, what it does is it builds towards a counter, and then eventually it'll drop a T16. Hopefully it drops your favorited map once you've selected your favorites. But with Zero Voidstones, you kind of want the opposite to happen. You kind of want all maps tiers 1 through 16 to drop, and you want to convert it into currency using the new Singular Focus keystone. So this strategy, we use Singular Focus to basically get only your favorited map tier to drop. And so for my example, let's pick Underground Sea. Okay, Underground Sea is a tier 1 map. I could just make that my only favorited map, and no matter what map I'm running, the only map that could drop is Underground Sea. Otherwise, it gets converted into currency. And so eventually I'm going to build up a huge pool of Underground Seas, all 72 or whatever the map tab can fit. And then what I can do is just run those Underground Seas, and I can favorite a whole nother map. I can favorite any other map, basically, that's a high tier map. And when I'm running those Underground Seas, nothing will drop. No maps will drop except for raw currency. And instead of building equity, you don't need your maps to upgrade tiers. So the Voidstone chance, you don't need them. You don't need those nodes on the tree that upgrade your map chance either. What you can do is you can kind of just sit there in a low tier map over and over and just turn all of your map drops into currency. You can really push this to the extreme. You could take the duplicated maps chance to drop. You can take the adjacent map chance dropping, all those little minor nodes. You can kind of push it super, super far. But I actually don't recommend doing that. What I recommend instead is taking Stream of Consciousness, which I kind of just spoke about before. But what you can do is you can just kind of light maps on fire. So if you guys remember, it was many leagues ago now, but during Legion League, there was a strategy where you would sit in Strand or I think Glacier became a really popular map for this. And you could just light maps on fire to get the League mechanic over and over and over. And so, it's during Sentinel League, Sentinel will be a mechanic that's present on every single map, but also with the new baseline chances you can get with Stream of Consciousness and like blocking out a lot of different mechanics, you can get something like a 40 to 50% chance that a Legion or an Expedition or a Harvest can spawn in your map. You can target farm specific mechanics that you want, and if you just light these maps on fire, you can basically force the mechanic through sheer volume of maps. And so this small map strategy, you would want, Underground Sea would be like a bad example in this case, but maybe a smaller map like Strand, like Glacier, or something like that. And the mechanics that I suggest doing this on for my niche 0 Voidstone strategy are Legion and Expedition mainly. I think those are the best ones because they're very obvious when you see them. They'll appear right away. You can get full value out of them. You can take all of the nodes that are related to them. You can get tons of artifacts or logbook chance or Sergeant chance, Marikath chance, whatever. The other mechanic that I think is worth doing is Harvest. But for this strat, you want to be in a tier 9 map or above. The reason tier 9 is important is because it's monster level 76, which gives you Harvest crafts that can affect items that are item level 86 or above. So those are the 3 mechanics that I kind of recommend with this 0 Voidstone strategy. And while you're kind of fishing for mechanics, you're also just generating a ton of raw map drops, which turn into currency drops. So I think that's something you could do with the 0 Voidstone strategy. I don't know how popular or how good it will be, but it's just something niche that you can think about. I think these new keystones are really great and just kind of a different way to think about the Atlas. In this video, I'm not really going to cover all of the keystones. Some of them are kind of obvious, just take them when they make sense. If you have Headhunter, take Valley of Darkness. I do want to mention that Wandering Path and Grand Design appear to be bait. Maybe somebody will figure out a really good way to use Grand Design and Wandering Path, but I think the value you lose by taking either one of these is just a little too great. So I don't know, maybe I'll be proven wrong on that. Maybe I'll post an Atlas strategy update where, oh my God, this one's broken, but I kind of doubt it. So yeah, that's kind of the niche 0 Voidstone strat. Let's go ahead and cover some of the underperforming and overperforming nodes from the last league. So one underperformer was the Covetous Shrine. I just didn't think it was that good. It was only 10 quant, and I think it took too many points for me to get it. Even when I was spec'd into the map modifier effect and it was only 4 points to get the Covetous Shrines, it didn't appear that frequently, and when it did, it kind of, sometimes the Covetous Shrine would be like at the end of the map, and I didn't get the quant for the full duration of the map. Shrines in general, I think, kind of underperformed, unless you're doing like a goal blunderbore strategy or whatever, where you're really abusing shrines. That like very small percent chance that you get a divine shrine that like makes all the monsters immune, it's really annoying. So not a huge fan of shrines. I do take it here in the early game because I think it is good static value. In some cases, it kind of helps you like choose bosses. That kind of underperforms. The other underperformers were Enriched Entities and Fated Conflict. Yeah, I don't know why I thought these would be good in the beginning. Maybe SSF, I don't know. Just too many points, too much out of the way to get these. I think when I do the Metamorph strategy, actually, I might actually go back and try Enriched Entities again. The Rogue Exiles were underperformers as well. Just same thing. At face value, these points are pretty good. It is worth noting that Stream of Consciousness does increase your base Rogue Exile chance, so maybe the Rogue Exile nodes will be a little bit better in this league. The last underperformer I kind of want to talk about is Harbinger, and not because it was a bad mechanic in the last league. I just kind of expected Harbinger to be broken because it's something that they've never been able to balance. But without the Auspicious Keystone and basically ways to get the rarer currency shards, Harbinger felt very balanced. Like, I don't think it's bad, it's just very balanced. And even with Harbinger on the map device and Harby Scarabs, the powerful Harbinger bosses definitely felt good, but they were just very balanced nodes. I'm still going to take them. Like I said, I don't think they overperformed like these next nodes did. So the overperformers are Secret Operations. The Operative Strongbox felt super, super good. I actually did Atlas progression quite a few times. I did like SSF, and every time I took Secret Operations. I think the small chance that you get the Strongbox to open up twice or whatever, it's just tons of Scarabs. So we weren't sure how many Scarabs would drop from Secret Operations, the man did drop a lot, and yeah, the operative strong boxes felt really good. The other overperformer is just Eater of Worlds influence in general and these pack size nodes. It's worth noting in the upcoming patch, they made these pack size nodes specific to Eater of Worlds or Searing Exarch. In the previous patch, these were generic pack size nodes for either of the influences, so just make sure you take the corresponding one when you do it. This particular node they nerfed from 50% alter chance to 30. It's still really good. I still think Eater of Worlds is kind of the better influence to take. This was probably, I think hands down, probably the most overperforming node, so very deserving of a nerf. I still think it's great, and I'm still going to take it. So big overperformer there. But yeah, that's it for the content. You know, lots of cool stuff in the upcoming league. Obviously, these new juiced up endgame bosses I'm excited to try out. Feel free to subscribe and like and all that. I will be trying to post an update video a week or maybe 2 weeks into the league. You can kind of see how we did towards that Metamorph strategy and if we've discovered anything new in the upcoming Sentinel League. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next video.